Hi, this is Katie Weeks, your independent, close to my heart maker, and today I'm joining with the Makers with Heart for another mystery envelope challenge. And this month, our envelopes have been sent to us by Kim Ferguson. It's very similar to what we received last month from Haight. So you'll see the assortment of papers and tags and some red shimmer trim, and we have directions saying we can use no flowers or stars, but basically we should not replicate anything from the catalog. We can have 2 pops of color from cardstock, and we can add any amount of pattern paper if we use everything that was sent to us. We can use any form of mixed media on our tags, and we can add other embellishments like sequins, enamel dots, etc. So here is the layout that I created last month with the items that came from Haight, who also asked us to use some mixed media. So what I'm going to be doing today will be replicating a lot of the same things so that I can make a coordinating page. So I still have some silver shimmer trim. I still have those stencils from the Dream Maker bundle, and I'm pulling in that other piece of paper, and I'm going to pull out my watercolor paints and my silver liquid pearls, and I'm going to bring in my Christmas red Stickles. So the first thing I do is cut these 2 pieces in half that Kim sent because I want it to look like the page that I did before. And then I bring in that other plaid piece of paper. And then I got out my paints, and I was trying to remember which colors it was that I used last time to make my background. So I had to do a little bit of experimenting. The red I hit on the very first try. I got the exact shade of red the first time I tried it. The blue, I had to experiment and find the right shade. So I tried this one. I thought it was the right one. No, it was not the correct one. So then I went one lighter. I have a water brush that I'm adding water to my paints with. That wasn't right. And then the third one that I tried, I struck gold. And so I tried it in the middle of my page because I knew that would be completely covered with the papers and the what I was going to do for my coordinating page. So I put the blue across the bottom and across one of the tags. I also added the red paint to one of those other tags. And then just like I did for my coordinating page, I brought in that grid pattern first for my stencil and my silver pearl liquid pearls, and I put it down over both of them, and I put on some liquid pearls. For some reason, I always underestimate how much liquid pearls this particular stencil takes. But this stencil is more open than it is plastic. So there's more open areas that I need to get on my cardstock. So this particular pattern takes quite a bit of liquid pearls. So I put that one on the top, and then I brought in the one that looks like the dots and the random sizes, and I used that as a pattern so I'd know where to place my dots down at the bottom. And then I did the same thing only opposite on the other side of the page. So I just flipped my page around because I was trying not to drag my hand or my arm through the wet liquid pearls. So always remember, you can rotate your papers. You want to make sure that you are working so that you're not going to get in that liquid pearls. And I think I did one tiny little bit, but it was mostly the pile that was on my all-purpose mat. That all-purpose mat is wonderful to work from, so I would highly recommend something like that. Okay, then I took in the other pattern, which kind of has like those hash marks, and I used it with my red Stickles, Christmas red Stickles. Now this one is a little harder to spread just because it's not as smooth, right? It has that glitter, those bigger chunks of glitter in the bottle and in that wet mixture, so it's a little bit harder to do. So I did that in the one corner, and then I did it on the red tag as well. Okay, so I'm swapping out my all-purpose mat for my Versamat, and I'm bringing in that other layout, and I'm lining it up. It looks like about 2.5 inches down, I believe, is where I started, and then 2.5 inches up from the bottom for the plaid, and then I laid that one with the fireworks or bursts or whatever it is in the middle. And so I just lined it up with that other page so I had a good reference. And then I bring in my shimmer trim. I have actually sliced the silver shimmer trim in half the long ways, and I'm putting that in. And the Sapphire cardstock is actually measured 6.5 by 12, I believe, and I'm putting that down the bottom. So that's not an exact duplication of the other page, but I just wanted the page to coordinate. I didn't want the exact same page. So I wanted the strips and the mixed media all to coordinate across, but I wanted the other part to be different. So then once I've stuck this down on my mat, I can use that ruler along the side to put down all of my pieces. And you see, I'm covering up a whole bunch of that mixed media in the middle that I experimented with paint colors. So nobody will ever know the difference as long as you don't tell them. And then I will put down this panel down the very center of the page. And I just lined it up again with my Versamat. And you can center it perfectly. So I'm going to have a large 5x7 picture that's portrait right here. And then at the top on the candy apple cardstock, that's where I'm going to do a cluster for my title. So I've already dovetailed both ends of those little zip strips that were sent, and then I cut those in half. The tags, everything has dried. I had let it sit and dry. It might have even been overnight. I'm not sure. And then I'm going to start punching some things out of my Hello Darlin embellishments. I figured if I could add embellishments like sequins, enamel dots, etc., included the Hello Darlin embellishments. So I was very careful to stay away from stars, which was tempting to use in this, but I had not used it on the other page, so it was okay. So I went with the fireworks, and I punched out from the paperboard, from the Sapphire paperboard, some of the big blue starbursts and some medium-sized ones and small ones as well. And then out of my acrylic pieces that came with the embellishments, I pulled out the red ones so that I could layer them on top of each other. Because a lot of times when you see fireworks, you see more than one color, and you see like a boom and then another flash within it. So that's how I decided to layer these together. So I had actually had some little pieces of shimmer trim that stuck out with like banner tip ends on my coordinating page. So I figured I'd just go along with that and make a whole cluster that sticks out up here by my title. And that word celebrate actually came out of that embellishment pack as well. It was that sapphire blue paperboard. And so I cut some of that red shimmer trim a couple different ways. I cut it in half lengthways and the other way, and dovetailed some ends, and then cut some others. If they were the skinny ones, I just cut them at an angle. And then all of those little half pieces, I stuck a bunch of those up, and as well as some silver shimmer trim. And then I put on some sapphire embellishing thread and some silver, actually it was crochet thread. So, and then it was silver embellishing thread. These were things that close to my heart used to carry, and I still have in my stash. And so I used those for my tags because I like to have something tied in those holes. And so I'm just going to have those stick out, and I have some of those little fireworks on there. I kept those embellishments on with the little tiny glue dots. They worked absolutely wonderful. And you'll see I'm taking my Celebrate, running it through my tiny Xyron, then I kind of burnish it with my finger, and then I'm coming in with this little embossing stylus, and I'm tracing the word. That really helps me get all of the little sticky gooeys off, and so when I pull it up, I don't have as many of those gooey threads. So that's just a little quick tip for you, and I layered that over my tags. And then I put some more fireworks down here in the corner. There were a couple of those plastic pieces that kind of broke off, but once I used those glue dots and glued them right back in place, nobody will be able to tell the difference. So if yours have not stayed full circles, just know that you can glue the tiny pieces back into place. Then I did bring in this other coordinating page just to add my third fireworks. You know how we do things as a visual triangle? Well, since I usually do 2-page spreads instead of 1-page spreads, I like to make sure that the third element is always on the companion page. So I work with a visual triangle, and here I'm only doing a 1-page layout, but I did coordinate it and add that third one over to the other side. So if you enjoyed this, please give me a like, consider subscribing to my channel, and turning on the notifications. Make sure you check the playlist out that's at the end. I will leave a link, and I'll leave it in the description. And I will leave the link for my previous video so you can check it out. Make sure you look at all of the other Makers with Heart, see what they did with their mystery envelopes as well.